Hello everyone, so we are going to discuss another question for BPSC mains, and the question is, natural disasters are the main cause of poverty in Bihar. Do you agree with this statement? Comment your views. So this was a question which was asked in 47th BPSC mains. Question is asking that to what extent natural disasters are responsible for poverty in Bihar. Is it the sole reason? Are there any other factors? This is what you have to specify in answer. So, first we are going to cover introduction, then body, and then conclusion. Now, first thing first, since the question is asking to what extent natural disasters are responsible. So, is natural disaster a reason or a factor responsible for poverty? So, in our body we need to frame two parts. First part should focus on the aspect that yes, natural disasters are responsible for poverty. Natural disaster and responsible for poverty. In second part of the question we have to start that however there are other factors as well which are responsible for poverty in Bihar. Not only natural disasters, there are other factors which are responsible. So we need to discuss that as well, other factors. Okay, in introduction we can just briefly discuss poverty. So this is going to be the structure of our answer. Now let's start. First thing first, poverty. What is poverty? So poverty means a person does not have sufficient resources for basic minimum standard of life. Now, as far as poverty is concerned, it can be relative poverty or it can be absolute poverty. In case of India, as of now, the poverty level or the poverty line is determined on the recommendation of Suresh Tendulkar Committee. As per this committee, in case of rural area, the poverty line is 26 rupees. That means those who are earning 26 rupees per person per day, then they are not poor. Those who are earning less than that, they are living below poverty line. So 26 in case of rural areas per person per day, and it is 32 rupees per person per day in urban areas. This is a data of 2011, and as per that 21.9% population of our country is living below poverty line. So this can be our introduction. Now coming to body part, that to what extent natural disasters are responsible specifically in the scenario of Bihar. So we need to discuss three parts. First is natural disasters. Second is poverty and poverty in Bihar. So what natural disasters are responsible or how natural disasters affect the overall economy of Bihar. First and foremost, Bihar is one of the most vulnerable state as far as flood is concerned. So flood is one of the biggest problem in Bihar. This will lead to loss of life, livelihood and infrastructure. So that is why a state which is heavily dependent on agriculture, that agriculture might be destroyed because of floods. So flood is one major problem, and since that flood will impact livelihood, therefore it will lead to poverty as well. Second natural disaster is drought. In fact, Bihar is a specific case in which there are cases of flood and drought simultaneously. That means some district of Bihar face the problem of flood, specifically in North Bihar, and the district of South Bihar face the problem of drought, specifically because of delayed monsoon. So the North Bihar is prone to flood and South Bihar is prone to drought. So these two disasters adversely impact agriculture, and because of over dependency on agriculture sector, they adversely impact the livelihood or income source of people, and because of that the people are pushed into poverty. Apart from that, earthquake is another disaster. Since Bihar is in high seismic zone, that means it is highly vulnerable to earthquakes, and that is why these earthquakes may destroy the basic infrastructure, they may destroy house, they may destroy the basic properties of people, and therefore people are pushed into poverty. So earthquake is also responsible. Apart from that, thunderstorms are there. Thunderstorms which destroy the human life and animals life. Apart from that, if there is a death of the breadwinner or the bread earner, that means the earning member of family, so the entire family is pushed into poverty. So that is how thunderstorm also adversely impact the livelihood or income of people. Apart from that, cold wave and heat wave adversely impact the overall agriculture and economic activity in the state. So these are some of the disasters which impact the life and livelihood in Bihar. So that was the first part, that to what extent natural disasters are responsible. Yes, they are responsible. In fact, they are highly responsible, specifically for a state like Bihar, which is heavily dependent on rainfall, which is heavily dependent on agriculture. So therefore, agriculture will be adversely impacted. Now coming back to second part, that apart from natural disasters, there are other factors also. Other factors also which are responsible for poverty in Bihar. So we are going to discuss some of the factors. For example, first we have already discussed a natural disaster. Another factor that is responsible for poverty in Bihar is agricultural backwardness. Agricultural backwardness, that means agriculture is not that much well developed. Apart from that, industrial backwardness. Actually, agricultural backwardness or industrial backwardness, they reflect the lack of employment opportunities, and lack of employment is the root cause of poverty in any state or in any country. So employment is the biggest concern in Bihar, or to be specific, unemployment, that is the root cause. Apart from that, there is a jobless growth in service sector. That means even if service sector is increasing at a rapid pace, even if it is growing, it is not leading to employment generation. So growth is there, but it is not leading to creation of new employment opportunities. So that is about tertiary sector. So the problem with primary sector, that is agriculture, is its low productivity and disguised unemployment. The problem with secondary sector is that it is industrial backwardness in Bihar, that means the contribution is quite low. The problem with tertiary sector is that it is jobless growth, that means the sector is growing at a good pace, but it is not leading to employment generation. Apart from that, the female labor force participation rate is another challenge, because in case of Bihar, it is one of the lowest in country. It is quite low in Bihar. That means the economic role of women is quite limited, and that is why the income level is low, and because of low income level, there is a risk of poverty. Apart from that, there are various other issues, for example, gender inequality, high population growth, and because of high population growth there is high population density. For example, in terms of population density, Bihar is on top position in our country. The population density of Bihar is 1106. On the other hand, the population density of India is 382. So that means it is roughly 3 times higher than national average. So that is one major problem. Because of high density, there is a pressure on social infrastructure. That means pressure on health institutions, pressure on educational institutions, and that is why there is low level of human capital formation, poor human capital formation. So on one side, inadequate employment opportunities are not available. That means adequate employment opportunities are not available. That is why there is unemployment. On another side, our population is there. That means we have surplus labor, but that population is not well educated. That population is not well skilled. That is why they do not get quality employment there. And this leads to low level of employment, and therefore the income level will remain low. So these are some of the factors apart from natural disasters which are responsible for poverty in Bihar. Additionally, even historical factors are responsible. For example, Britishers were responsible. Because of Britishers' policies, the domestic industries were destroyed, the revenue system was highly exploitative. That is why investment in agriculture was low and therefore productivity was low. Apart from that, because of repetitive cropping pattern, the productivity in agriculture got declined. So these are some of the factors apart from disaster which are responsible. So we have covered first and second part, that is natural disasters are responsible. Yes, apart from that other factors are also responsible. Now coming to conclusion part. So in conclusion we can specify that, for example, 21.9% population still reside below poverty line. So that means we need to create employment opportunities, and in order to create employment opportunities we need to focus on labor intensive sectors. For example, we need to focus on MSME. Apart from that, recently Bihar government launched a startup policy. In addition to that, we need to focus on other alternative options as well. For example, Bihar government also launched agriculture investment promotion policy to encourage investment in agriculture. So this employment generation will lead to utilization of demographic dividend, and which will help in achievement of goal of 5 trillion economy. Additionally, this employment will help in reduction of poverty, hunger, etc., which are our sustainable development goals. So in order to achieve our sustainable development goals, we need to focus on poverty reduction, and for poverty reduction we need to focus on employment generation in the state as well as in the country. So that was all for this question. We have discussed what are the factors responsible for poverty, how natural disasters lead to poverty, how other factors are responsible. That was all for this. Thank you.